nailing in deeper and deeper into how do I overcome hard times, I think one of the ways that we overcome it is thinking about how we manage it and balance it. That's the question I'm seeing a lot. It's like,
Same.
well, how do I balance?
Yeah, same.
You know, the jobs, plural, and the people that I love, plural.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and this life that I'm trying to live, both with them and in light of the calling and mission that I'm on.
Yeah.
When it comes to work. So what is balance? If someone says, man, I'm really having trouble balancing my life, or I'd like to learn how to balance it more, what does that mean to you?
It's an interesting question because this, I would say, is in probably the top 5 conversations that people are having today. I would say this is in the top 5 areas of how people are making their decisions of careers, jobs they take, whether or not they have 2 or 3 kids. You know, I think this is high level thought that everyone's asking this question and processing, and I think that the answer is not very simple. So I would say work-life balance, yes and no. Yes, spend time with your friends and loved ones and your family. Yes, you know, give all that you have for work in the time that you have it. But if you simply live this kind of systematic, rigid life where it's just going to look the same every day, every week, every month, every year for the rest of my life because I'm a work-life balance person, I'm just going ahead and telling you, you're going to miss opportunities that came their way that was a one-time opportunity because that was a time for you to work extra. You're going to miss opportunities with your family that was a time for you to pull away from work extra and focus in more for your family for that season because that's what was needed in that season. So yes, in the sense that if you neglect all of your relationships because you're a workaholic, you're not going to have many friends. If you neglect your family, you're going to lose your family. Same vice versa. If you're so for your family and time with your family, you're going to lose your job. So there is a balance there, but I would say that all of life is so much more of seasons and rhythms and discipline than it is a balance.
I hate the word balance.
I hate the word balance.
Here's why
I don't think it clearly defines what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, so here's why I don't like the word balance. Because this is what it does, okay? Balance says, how do I keep?
How do I sustain this?
How do I keep this? How do I keep all this? How do I keep it? No. If that is what you're trying to do, trying to keep it, well, guess what? You start losing it immediately the moment you try and keep it.
You're always losing it.
Yes. So the idea for me is, it's less balance and more growth. Mm-hmm. Because if I try to keep what I currently have, I lock it down. I tie it up. I hold it back. But if the idea is growth, it's, well, how do I help you become the best version of you? How do I help this person that I love help become the best version of them and thrive? Well, see, if I help them grow, then I get to stay in their life longer and see them flourish. Flourishing and thriving those are growth concepts. Yeah. Balance is a sustain concept. And so you can only sustain inanimate objects, but life's not about inanimate objects, is it? Mm-hmm. Life is about things that are alive. Well, guess what needs to happen with things that are alive? They always need to grow or they will immediately go. Mm-hmm. That's the state. That's the truth about the world around us. If these plants don't keep growing, they start dying. Yeah. They start going. Yeah. Okay, so it's huge. It's a big deal for us to rethink what it means to balance, and let's stop trying to keep the things in our lives, and let's start trying to thrive. And what if we set the things in our life free?
Yeah.
How do I set you free?
Yeah.
I tell you to go be the best version of yourself. I do what you did earlier, and I practically speak encouragement and excitement and joy and future into your real life.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Then I get a better, closer friend.
Yeah.
And yes, you may leave me, meaning you may move away, but that doesn't mean I can't still be in your life.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't I want you to go experience and be all that you can become?
Absolutely.
That's freedom. That's joy. I don't raise my kids to stay in my home forever.
No.
I raise them to become all that they can become as a father who sees the best in them, as a father who wants the most for them.
Mm-hmm.
Health happens in growth. Well, that's why it's seasonal. You don't know when the seasons are going to come too.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think that's why, I think one of the reasons that we struggle with balance is because we don't communicate well. Meaning
I
like,
No, I agree.
like with your wife and with my wife, it's like, oh, this is a week for me focusing on this first because this needs to thrive. Because this is a season or a week or a month of X. Well, if she's communicated well to, she won't be frustrated with your lack of time with her. She will know that time is coming.
Yep.
But there needs to be a time where you invest in that relationship and the relationship goes to a different level and thrives. And time is not necessarily about the quantity of time anymore. It's about the quality of time.
Agreed.
So then I'm thinking about how does this relationship grow instead of, oh, we just need to go on a date. Because what if the date's terrible?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, then I'm thinking about how to have the best date we've ever had
Yeah.
instead of about we need to spend 4 hours. We need to go on a trip for 3 days. No. If I can't have the best single hour with her, then I can't expect to have the best 3 days with her.
Agreed. No, agreed.
So I'm very passionate about this thought. I don't know if you can tell.
I am very, very passionate about this thought too. Because the way you think about this affects every area of your life.
Sure, yeah. Hard times.
Hard times. So
how people
when
come
you're-
into hard times. How you invest in other people's hard times.
Yes. So one thought is when you're trying to balance something, my phone. When you're trying to balance something, you're focused on what?
Yeah, you're focused on it.
Trying to balance.
Yeah.
Trying to balance it.
Yeah, the weight.
You're focused on the weight and you're shifting. And then once you finally get it balanced, what happens? You get it balanced and what happens? Wind blows.
Yeah.
Something happens.
Yeah.
Somebody nudges you. It falls. And all of a sudden, oh no, I'm off balance.
You're a
focused back on balance.
tightrope walker.
You're a tightrope walker. And so your attention then is focused on the metric of time versus the efficiency and the capacity that you have in that season. For example, some seasons in which you said communication, which I think is huge. Communication is huge. It's not balancing out one way. It's creating good boundaries through communication.
Well, so it's
is
communication
huge.
with inanimate objects as well as animate objects,
Yeah.
as well as the things that we're managing. And,
Yeah.
and it's either communication with the thing or with ourselves.
Yeah.
About like, oh, this is a time for this and not a time for that necessarily.
Yes.
It's priority shifting.
Mm-hmm.
So keep going.
No, I totally agree. But it is a shift in perspective to say, okay, it's not so much that, no, I can't help you with that project because from 5 to 9 is me time and I'm trying to balance my work-life balance. In this season, doing that extra work could fuel me and give me energy and excitement. And I actually, and really propel my future. And then I actually don't need in this season that much time to do some of these other things and vice versa. But it's helping. If you focus too much on work-life balance, then it's taking your attention off of the higher level conversations of things that actually matter. Like, what's your capacity in this season? What's your time in this season? What's your priority in this season? If your priority is career, okay, let's go unbalanced for a season. And then when we do have that time at home together, let's make it all it can be. We've identified it. We brought clarity to it. Now, instead of talking about balance, we're talking about vision. We're talking about priorities for the future. I see a lot of people get stuck on work-life balance, and it slows down their momentum in the areas in that season that they care about most, because their attention's on the wrong thing.
Yeah, but dude, okay. We're talking about attention. We're talking about work-life balance. How be as direct as possible in this. How to have work-life balance? How do I have a work-life balance? What's the framework? How would you answer that question?
I would say you have to build a rhythm in your week if you're going to have work-life balance. Set the priorities and the goals that are most important to you. I just had a thought I'll come back to, because I believe that people say they want work-life balance, but in work they're not exactly doing the things that are being most efficient in their life. So come back to that. How do you take that first step in having a good work-life balance? You identify your priorities and your goals. So for work, what's my priority this week? You ask your boss, what's my priorities this week? What do you need? Yeah. How can I see your vision come to fruition? How can I champion the creative genius that you have? What do you want? Okay, great. You build that out in your calendar. You talk to your friends and you know, see what you need. If you don't have a family, you know, what do I need for this week? I really want to go on this hike. I really want to do this thing. I really want to hang with my friends on Thursday night. You build that vision out. You build an actual plan. Most people that I know don't even operate on a calendar. We were talking about budget earlier, but people that talk about work-life balance, a lot of them don't even operate on a calendar. Like, well, how do you even know what you care about and what you're prioritizing? So then you build that out. Then you say to yourself, okay, in this season with my capacity and with where I'm at, that feels sustainable for me in this season. Great. You've worked on your calendar. You're hitting your priorities with your boss. You know where the goals are there. You're hitting your priorities at home and your relationships, so you know you're there. And then I would say in that framework, you build flexibility for the unknowns. Something comes up at work, instead of saying, which it's a thing right now, and this is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, but I get it. But it's a thing right now, and it's like, hey, we got this thing that came up. Can you knock this out? Well, work-life balance. It's almost like the stamp on anything to get out of anything. And it's just like, well, no, like this doesn't happen often. This just so happened this week. Do it. People want the work-life balance when it comes to not showing up well for work, but they want the company and the business to respect work-life balance when they need extra time at home. No, but I got something at home. Would you want your employee to say, actually, no, you're supposed to be in work right now? Well, that wouldn't work that way. But yeah, people with the work-life balance idea are drawing lines the other way, saying, actually, no, don't come at my other time and ask for more. That's just something that I've noticed. I don't know if you've seen that or experienced that as well, but I would say it has to go both ways. For your employer, when you need that extra time to be able to say you want time with your family, they need to be able to also see that sometimes you also give a little extra time for the business and the vision of the company to see that that's fulfilled as well. Because they know that, like, hey, at the end of the day, I know they're prioritizing this as well. I
think you don't need to do that if you don't want more.
Well, I agree.
You don't
No,
need
I 100% agree with that statement.
Don't do more if you don't want more.
I 100% agree.
Easy. Chilling.
Maintaining.
Casual. If you want more, well, guess what it's going to take? It's going to take you proving that you can handle more. That's it.
That's it.
And so for me, it's like, I don't, yeah, sure, it may be a pet peeve of yours, but I just don't think people want more. Yeah. See, I think that's why you're a good friend, is because you have a bigger vision for others than they have for themselves. Well, until they receive that vision and actually say, hey, I actually want that for myself too. Yeah. Then they don't really need to do much more. Yeah. But don't expect more to come into your life if you're not willing to become more than you currently are. You become more than you currently are if you're willing to put more effort and grow more and do more and receive the opportunity and see the opportunity as a blessing, not as a curse,
Yeah.
not as a forced.
I agree.
And honestly, I've had a lot of people in my life take advantage of me when it comes to opportunity.
Yep. Same.
But I am taking advantage of the opportunity, and it lets me know that I actually have more capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is, yes, I did something for them for free, or did something for them that they weren't thankful for, but guess what I also did? I learned a new skill.
Yep.
I served somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that I could handle more. And then when the right person comes along that actually appreciates me for me, then I'm like, oh my gosh, look what's happened to me. I can actually, I'm not just juggling and tightrope walking. I'm standing on a firm foundation of a body of work that proves that I can become something greater than what I've been.
Yeah.
Changes everything for me.
Changes everything.
So that's the thing that happens when I think people are looking for confidence.
I agree.
And I think the thing that gives me confidence is a body of work that says, oh, you should be confident. You've actually put in the work to get to where you are. And you don't learn how to save $100,000 until you what? Do it.
Yeah.